Your Excel formula looks correct, but the result is 0 or blank. That usually means Excel is silently interpreting something differently than you are. The fastest fix is not guessing. It's debugging in a consistent order. First, decide what wrong means. Is the cell truly empty, or is it an empty string from a formula? Is 0 a real calculation, or a fallback from an error handler? Next, isolate the formula's inputs. One bad reference, one hidden space, or one mismatched data type can collapse the whole result. Then check the logic path. Many formulas return blank on purpose because of if error, or a lookup that didn't match. Finally, confirm the environment. Formatting, calculation mode, and circular references can make a correct formula look broken. In the next steps, you'll use a simple checklist that works for sum, XLOOKUP, index match, COUNTIF, and even complex nested formulas. Once you learn the pattern, you'll fix these issues in minutes, not hours. Next step. Step 1 is to identify what you're actually seeing. A cell can look blank but still contain a formula that returns an empty string, like double quotes. That matters because functions like countBlank treat true blanks differently than empty strings. Here's a quick mental test. If you click the cell and the formula bar shows something, it's not truly empty. If the formula is returning double quotes, it's a deliberate blank, not a missing value. Now for zeros. A 0 might be a real math result, like 5 minus 5, or it might be a default value from a function like IFERROR, or a lookup that returns 0 because the match cell contains 0. So your job is to classify the symptom. Is it a display issue, a logic issue, or a data issue? Once you label it correctly, the fix becomes much more obvious. Most wasted time comes from treating a display blank like a missing input. Next step. Next, check the simplest cause. The formula is correct, but Excel isn't recalculating. If calculation is set to manual, new inputs won't update results until you force a recalculation. That can look like your formula returns 0 or blank when it's just stuck. Another environment issue is circular references. A circular reference can cause unexpected zeros or partial results, depending on iteration settings. Also confirm the workbook isn't in a filtered or protected state that prevents updates in linked cells. And if your formula depends on volatile functions like today, rand, or offset, recalculation behavior can get confusing across workbooks. The goal here is to rule out the Excel is not updating category before you tear apart the logic. If you've ever fixed a formula by typing a space and deleting it, that's a recalculation clue. Once you confirm calculation is behaving, you can trust the next steps. Next step. Now isolate the inputs. A huge percentage of 0 or blank problems come from a referenced cell not being what you think it is. It might be empty. It might be a text number. It might contain spaces, or it might be an error that's being hidden. A clean way to debug is to temporarily replace your full formula with just the key input reference. For example, if your formula uses A2, check what A2 truly contains. Then test the intermediate pieces. If you have a multiplication, test each side separately. If you have a lookup, test the lookup value alone. This is the spreadsheet version of checking your cables before blaming the device. Also, confirm you're referencing the correct row and column. Copying formulas can shift relative references and quietly point to the wrong cell. If the wrong cell is blank, your result becomes blank. If it's 0, your result becomes 0. Next step. A classic trap is numbers stored as text. Excel may display 100, but treat it as text. So math can return 0 or comparisons can fail, which then triggers your blank path. Another trap is leading and trailing spaces. A lookup for ABC will not match ABC with a trailing space, and a space can be invisible in the grid. There's also the non-breaking space, often imported from web pages, which trim doesn't fully remove. Dates are another minefield. A date might be a real serial number, or it might be text that looks like a date. If you're doing lookups or comparisons, that difference matters. The fix is usually to normalize your inputs. Use value for text numbers, date value for text dates, and clean or substitute for odd characters. If you build a habit of checking type and cleanliness early, you'll prevent most mysterious blanks and zeros. Next step. Now let's talk about the most common blank on purpose pattern, If and its relatives. Many spreadsheets contain logic like, if input is blank, return blank. That's fine until the input isn't truly blank, or the condition is written too broadly. For example, checking equals empty quotes will treat empty strings as blank, but not true blanks, in the same way in every scenario. Another issue is using if with a numeric test, where 0 is treated as falsy in the author's mind. Excel doesn't treat 0 as false in all contexts, but your logic might. Also watch for and or conditions that short-circuit your intended path. If one condition fails, you might fall into the blank result, even though the main value is present. The fix is to restate the logic in plain language. What exact inputs should produce blank, and what exact inputs should produce a number? Then encode that precisely, using is blank, len, or explicit comparisons. Next step. IFERROR and IFNA are helpful, but they can also mask the real problem. If your formula returns blank, it might be because an error happened earlier and got replaced with an empty string. That makes debugging harder because you can't see the failure. A good technique is to temporarily remove the error handler, or replace the fallback with a loud message like error here so you can trace it. Also remember that not all no-match cases are errors. Some functions return 0 or blank naturally when nothing is found, depending on how they're configured. So you want to distinguish between a true error, like -a or hash value, and a legitimate result like 0. Once you reveal the underlying error, you can fix the cause instead of patching the symptom. Error handling should be the last layer, not the first. Use it to improve user experience, not to hide broken logic. Next step. Lookups are the next big category. If XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, or match returns blank, it's often because the lookup value doesn't exactly match the key. That mismatch can be spaces, different data types, or different formatting of the same visible value. Another cause is using the wrong match mode. Approximate match can return unexpected rows, which then return 0 or blank from the wrong record. Also check the return column. Your lookup might be working perfectly, but the return cell is empty or contains a formula returning an empty string. And if you're using index match, a common mistake is mismatched ranges, where the match range and index return range don't align. The debugging approach is simple. First, confirm the lookup value is clean. Then confirm the key column contains the same type. Then test the match alone to see if it finds a position. When you can get a stable position, the return value becomes predictable. Next step. Another sneaky cause is formatting that hides real values. A cell can contain 0.004, but be formatted to show 0 decimals, so it displays as 0. Or it can contain a number but be formatted with a custom format that shows blanks for zeros. Accounting formats can also display dashes, which people interpret as blank. There's also conditional formatting that changes font color to match the background, making a value look missing. And sometimes the column is too narrow, so the value shows as symbols, leading you to think the formula failed. The key idea is this: formatting changes what you see, not what Excel calculates. So if your logic depends on what looks blank, you can get fooled. A quick sanity check is to temporarily set the cell format to general and check the raw value. If the raw value is not blank, your formula might be fine. Next step. Now let's cover range problems, especially in SUMIF, COUNTIF, and AVERAGEIF. If your criteria range and sum range are different sizes, Excel can return 0 or unexpected results without making it obvious. Another issue is criteria written as text when you intended a number, or criteria that needs quotes and operators. For example, greater than comparisons must be built carefully when the threshold is in a cell. Also watch for hidden characters in criteria fields, like extra spaces in names or IDs. And if you're using structured references in tables, check that your column names are correct and not pointing to a different field. The debugging method is to test the criteria alone. Count how many rows match, then sum. If the count is 0, your criteria isn't matching. If the count is correct but the sum is 0, your sum range may be blank or text. This two-step check turns a mystery into a controlled diagnosis. Next step. If your formula uses arrays or dynamic arrays, blanks and zeros can come from spill behavior and implicit intersections. A formula might be returning multiple values, but only one is being used, depending on where it sits. Also, functions like filter can return a blank-looking result if nothing matches, unless you provide an explicit if-empty argument. Sequence and sort can generate zeros that are valid, but unexpected. Another subtle issue is mixing text and numbers inside arrays, which can coerce results to text, and then downstream math returns 0. The way to debug is to evaluate the array step by step. First, confirm the array has the expected length. Then confirm the filter condition returns true where you expect. Then confirm the output contains real numbers, not text numbers. Once you treat arrays as a pipeline, inputs, filter, transform, output, the source of the blank becomes easy to locate. Dynamic arrays are powerful, but they demand clean inputs. Next step. When the formula is complex, use a controlled decomposition. Pick one intermediate result and pull it out into a helper cell. That's not cheating. It's how you make logic testable. For example, if you have a nested if with a lookup and a calculation, create one helper for the lookup result, one helper for the condition, and one helper for the final math.
This instantly tells you where the blank or zero is introduced. If you can't add helper cells, you can still do the same thing by replacing parts of the formula temporarily. Another technique is to add debug labels by concatenating text with values, so you can see which branch is running. The goal is to stop treating the formula as one black box. Excel formulas are just a chain of small decisions. When you test each decision separately, the bug usually becomes obvious. After you fix it, you can recombine the helpers back into one clean formula if needed. Next step. Let's finish with a repeatable checklist you can use every time. First, classify the symptom: true blank, empty string, or real zero. Second, confirm Excel is recalculating and not stuck in manual mode. Third, validate each input cell for type, spaces, and hidden errors. Fourth, remove or modify if errors so errors become visible. Fifth, test the logic path, especially if conditions that intentionally return blank. Sixth, for lookups, confirm exact match behavior and test match or XLOOKUP independently. Seventh, check formatting so you're not chasing a display illusion. If you follow that order, you'll fix most cases fast, even in someone else's spreadsheet. One last thing, keep a small sanity check cell that shows the raw input type or length for key fields. It prevents repeat problems. If you want more Excel debugging walkthroughs like this, subscribe once. And for a quick check-in, comment with your most common culprit: A, hidden spaces, or B, numbers stored as text. Small tweaks compound into massive performance gains. Subscribe to catch the next workflow optimization.